This is Teach Henley. It's a cream for the face to make you beautiful.
Men, have you not been getting girls lately? You need to try Teach Hanley Uncomplicated Skincare for Men.
Oh my god, I wish my man had Teach Henley. Then maybe I'd find that in my dreams. Teach Henley, Henley, Henley.
Teach Henley, Teach Henley, Teach Henley, моя.
Teach Henley, let's go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioWest 3 Raw TV. Tonight I want to talk to you guys about something because I get called all kinds of names. I get called stupid, dumb, a lot worse than that. But I also, people say, well, Jerry doesn't really understand things, which is being dumb. Obviously, I'm not that dumb if I understand what that's what it means. But I've talked about foods not just containing macros and micros, but other things in the foods that affect us. And I've been called stupid for that. They're like, Jerry, it doesn't matter. All these chemicals are safe. Everything is fine. GMOs are great. Everybody's cool. It's just all about the calories in and the calories out. So I go, okay, you know what? I'm not going to argue because I'm just tired of arguing. Like, you can't get through to people that just don't want to see the truth. You just can't. I mean, they live in a delusional world. That's all there is to it. But information I'm going to put out right now includes specific names of companies, which, again, this information is out there for the public to see. It's very easy to find. And that is there are contaminants in every single protein powder that was tested. They round up a bunch of companies and they tested whey protein, they tested plant-based protein. I'm going to break everything down right now, explain everything. And I think a lot of people right now, after they watch this, are going to be like, what the fuck do I do? And my answer to you is, I don't know. Okay, I don't have a solution to this shit. There's no solution because nobody's talking about it. Nobody's trying to find a solution. Nobody's trying to invent a solution or do anything other than just keep their head buried in the sand. So when I put this stuff out, I don't have a solution. There has to be a discussion before you can have a solution because one person is not going to figure this shit out. So bear with me. Excuse me. So the protein powders in 2010, this started happening, right? A Consumer Reports reported that a detailed analysis of 15 popular protein drinks, right? This analysis of these protein drinks, the team was looking for potentially dangerous contaminants in included products from Muscle Milk, Optimum Nutrition, GNC, Jillian Michaels, BSN, EAS, and others. Now, these are some big fucking names in our industry. Companies that are juggernauts that have been in the forefront of supplementation, right? So it says specifically the researchers were testing for arsenic, cadmium, lead, and mercury, all of which are heavy metals that can cause major organ damage. Although the readings varied greatly, none of the products came out completely clean, which means that all of the products were actually contaminated with heavy metals. However, the worst offenders, though, were Muscle Milk, EAS, both of which contained extremely high levels of arsenic in particular. Okay, so they're not even talking about there was trace amounts. They're extremely high levels of arsenic. Arsenic is a fucking poison if you don't know what that is. I mean, yes, it is a heavy metal, a mineral, but it's poisonous. It's very toxic, right? So that's, we're going to go through all this, but basically it says, how do they get in the protein powder stuff? Basically, they said that whey does not naturally contain any of these substances. The real problem has to do with poor manufacturing and farming practices. For example, the Chinese government recently released a report saying that 1/5 of all farmland in the country is heavily contaminated with cadmium, arsenic, and lead. Okay, that's 1/5. So these companies that are sourcing their whey protein and stuff that's coming from other countries, China in particular, it's contaminated by the time it gets there because any cattle farmed on that land then is likely to be exposed to these metals and even take some form of the contaminated food. Those metals will then make it into the milk produced by those cows and any products, including whey, made from that milk. Most companies purchase their whey protein powder from China before processing it and flavoring it in the way that they want. Okay, so now we have companies that are buying cheap shit, basically, right? Because they're buying stuff that doesn't cost much because it's in China. And the reason it doesn't cost much is it's not being manufactured in a fucking good way. You know what I mean? They're letting the cows eat a whole bunch of fucking contaminated food and putting them in when the food grows out of that soil. Like, this is not good, right? But here's what was really interesting. Now, I have to log out of this one and go into this other article over here. And this one actually tested plant protein. So, because the obvious answer would be, okay, these protein powders that contain whey that the cows are fed contaminated grass from contaminated soil. Well, I'll just stay away from whey. What if I just go plant source? Now, pay attention to this one. heavy metals found in 40% of protein powders tested, including plant-based proteins. Excuse me. So in 2018, that's now, because some people are like, well, the other one started in 2018, technically it's 2019, but 2018, study by the Denver-based Clean Label Project used the independent analytical chemistry laboratory Eclipse Analytics to test the animal and plant-based protein powders. Clean Label selected and purchased the powders from retail stores and online sources. In addition to heavy metals, the research project included testing for BPA, a known endocrine disruptor. Results showed 55% of powders tested had measurable levels of BPA in it. Okay, over half of the powders tested had BPA in it. Now, how many of you guys out there right now buy Tupperware and shaker bottles and stuff that are BPA clean, right? They don't contain BPA, right? How many of you go specifically to buy bottled water at the store that is BPA free? Probably many of you, right? But the stuff you're putting in the bottles contains it already. Over 55% of the samples taken from those companies contain just BPA. Now it says of the 134 tested powders, 28 contained twice the regulatory limit of 3 micrograms of BPA. One contained more than 25 times the allowed level of BPA in just one serving, which means if you took that protein powder twice a day, you had 50 times the amount that would be considered safe. That's fucking insanity. It says the specific products tested in the Clean Label study are ranked the top sellers according to statistics by Nielsen and Amazon.com on their bestsellers list. According to the research report released today, the 134 products tested, 53 were found to have substantially elevated levels in the following heavy metals: lead, mercury, cadmium, which I could never pronounce that correctly, arsenic, and BPA. So they all contained levels that were not considered acceptable in all of these, right? 75% had measurable levels of lead. That's out of all of them, right? Each contained, on average, twice the amount of lead per serving as the other products. In addition to the lead, the plant powders in several cases contained mercury, as well as arsenic and cadmium, above the health-based guidelines. Now, they're saying that the actual plant-based protein powders have higher levels of heavy metals than non-plant-based protein powders. This could be due to the locations where the protein powder manufacturers' plant ingredients are sourced having contaminated soil. It's especially true of the United States, where there may be higher incidence of heavy metals in the soil of some regions. Testing further revealed that about 10% of the whey protein powders contain lead levels above health guidelines. So in this aspect, the one that you would think would be healthier, because all the vegans out there are going, go vegan, eat the plant-based protein powder. The plant-based protein powder is higher in heavy metals and has other things that are in there that are not in the whey. In the whey protein. So you step back and you go, fuck, there's heavy metals in all of this shit. The whey protein has a more than enough information to prove that the casein in the whey protein in general, there's a direct link to cancer. So what do? You can't have the whey protein, you can't have the plant-based. Jerry, what the fuck are we supposed to eat? I don't know. The only thing that I can piece together at this time, solution-wise, because it's just my little pea brain doing it, is to go with the plant-based protein, which has the heavy metals in it, excuse me, but use some things like spirulina and chlorophyll. So these are things that remove heavy metals from the body. So in other words, take the protein that you need to through the, I mean, you can go get them through foods too, but be aware, they're getting this protein powder by basically converting the foods into protein powder. So if you're drinking the protein powder, eating the vegetables that were turned into protein powder, you're still getting the heavy metals. It doesn't matter. So by taking the chlorophyll and the spirulina, these things pull heavy metals out of your blood. It would reduce the effects. I'm not saying it would completely detox your body, because I don't know if it would ever work that way. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a study to try to, detox somebody's body 100%, but these things proven over time for hundreds of years work like that. They do that, and they repeat themselves over and over again and replicate it over and over again. So for me, it makes sense to plant-based protein with a product that, one or both of those products to help pull the heavy metals out. But overall, I mean, let's just say, we're living on a hope and a prayer over here. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to rely on spirulina and chlorophyll to keep us alive and not fuck us up from the heavy metals. That's not really the best course of action. The best course of action would be consume something that doesn't have those things in it. But it seems like right now, as far as protein powder goes, you either have, the whey protein or the plant-based, but they didn't say anything about egg protein, right? They didn't say anything about rice protein. Some of these other ones, well, they did talk about the plant-based protein, so technically, like, rice is anyways, it's a starchy carbohydrate, but they probably would include that rice protein in there. But technically, we still have egg protein, right? So if we still have egg protein, what are the tests on that? What is in that? I didn't hear anything about that. So an option could be egg protein, right? But other than that, I mean, you know, we're sitting here going, pretty much everything you eat is going to harm and kill you. That's pretty much, if you dig far enough and long enough, that's what you find out. Everything is going to kill you. So what's the solution? I don't know. Hopefully we'll figure out. Maybe someone else has some answers. My goal is to put the stuff out there so people understand it and know it, but not necessarily find the solution. Let's see if someone else can find the fucking solution at this point, because I'm all ears if someone says, this is what you do, it's a very easy fix. I'm ready to listen, but overall, this is just the beginning. This is the tip of the iceberg. This shit that's happening, that I think we're going to be finding out more and more stuff as time goes on, that we're consuming so many things that are toxic to our body in general that we didn't even know about, weren't aware of, or thought it wasn't a big deal. And I think this is compounding, my personal opinion, this is compounding into many of the man-made diseases that we have nowadays that people are suffering from. Even the conditions of some of the kid diseases that we didn't have back in the day, like, not to say we didn't have, but the increase of all kinds of things like kids with ADHD, ADD. I mean, we had that when I was a kid, but it blew up in a certain period of time where a lot of chemical-laden foods are being introduced into our diet in North America. So it's very hard to say, you know, causation causes, you know, the actual thing to happen, but the correlation and causation together, but it really can't be ignored. You know what I mean? When something is in your face that big that says these things match up perfectly, the chemicals in the food and the types of disease that are popping up, it's very hard to ignore that. And I'm willing to bet if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, is a duck, then it's a duck. But until people sit back and get it, you know, like completely approved from a scientist somewhere, nobody's going to believe it. But these facts are out there, guys. All the information's out there. All you got to do is Google. Basically, I think I Googled heavy metals in protein powders, or each heavy metals in protein powders pops right up. Like that's how much information is out there. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Chime in if you know any more about this, if you have any solutions, if you have anything that, you know, constructive to throw in there. And, you know, I'm all ears. BiostreetTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. BiostreetTraining.com is the blog. It's the fucking, I have no idea what the fuck's going on, Bicep, and we are